I loved Metal Gear on the NES. For all its unfair deaths and terrible text, the underlying game was just awesome. I'd never played anything like it before. So imagine my surprise after Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear, came out and publicly denounced the NES game. I had nothing but fond memories of the game, but apparently the 1987 original for the MSX was the only true Metal Gear. Luckily, Konami included the original MSX version in the 2006 release of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. Finally, us Westerners had a simple way to enjoy the first game the way its creator intended, and right on the PlayStation 2. Let's take a look at Metal Gear for the MSX. Right from the start, you notice something's different. Snake's initial infiltration of Outer Heaven is done via the water, rather than parachuting into the jungle. Snake is inside the main compound almost immediately. After that, the game feels very familiar, running from room to room while avoiding being seen by the enemy, gathering vital equipment, and exploring every area for POWs. In this game, Solid Snake is the fresh-faced rookie of the elite Foxhound unit, sent on a mission that seems well beyond his ability. His commander, Big Boss, seems to think the Rook has the right stuff. Of course, we all know the big twist regarding Foxhound, Big Boss, the true nature of Outer Heaven, and the mysterious Metal Gear itself. And unlike in the NES game, in this version you actually get to fight the walking tank up close and personal. Metal Gear was actually Hideo Kojima's first game. It was originally being developed as an action game by a more senior member of Konami. But apparently, things weren't going so well. The young Kojima was given the game to complete, and the rest is history. Kojima found that the MSX2 platform just wasn't capable of rendering enough objects and bullets for a fast-paced shooter, and so the game was transformed into a stealth adventure. The story is very much a product of its time. It plays upon the very real fear of a nuclear conflict in the mid-80s. The period between 1979 and 1985 was an intense one. American President Ronald Reagan had a very anti-communist stance and a desire to dissolve Soviet influence following the Russian invasion of Afghanistan in December of '79. What followed was a series of military actions that almost seemed like an international game of chicken, where the US and the USSR seemed to be doing everything possible to goad the other into a deadly reaction. Pressure increased right up until the rise of Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, who was a reformist committed to reducing tensions between the world's superpowers. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying all of that, but the point is that the world felt like it was on the doorstep of a global nuclear conflict throughout a huge chunk of the 80s. Metal Gear deals with the rise of an independent state of mercenaries, complete with nuclear capability. So it plays on the fears of the entire world in a very effective way. It's fair to say that Kojima's games have always shared a few particular elements, and playing through the original Metal Gear, it's actually surprising just how many of them were present right at the beginning of his career. For all intents and purposes, Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation is largely a 3D remake of the original MSX game. You get Snake infiltrating the base through the loading dock, you get a boss battle with a tank, you get to fight a Hind D helicopter on top of the base, And you even get an apparently crazy commanding officer breaking the fourth wall by asking you to turn off your game system. It's all here. This port for the PlayStation 2 does update the game in a few ways. Mostly it has to do with localization fixes, updated boss names and item descriptions. This version also offers an easy difficulty mode, as well as a boss rush. Metal Gear is just an awesome game. After playing both this and the NES version, I can see why Kojima was a bit down on the port to the Nintendo system. It just doesn't have the same level of polish, and some bits are just downright confusing. Plus, you don't actually fight Metal Gear. What's up with that? Thanks for checking out the first episode of the Game Shelf. I hope you like what you saw. And be sure to check out Generation 16 for all of your Sega Genesis needs.